Welcome in, everybody. This is Dom Lewis here with the Philly Sports 444 podcast. And this is not an actual episode. This is our picks episode, I'll say that. So every week, starting from now on until the end of the season, I'll give just my weekly picks for the NFL. I'll give you spreads and what my opinion is if you should take the points or, bet on someone outright. I'm not really a better, but seems to be the wave. What I mean? You hear from DraftKings and Parts Casino and Bet365, Fox Bet, all those places. Um, and if one of those places want to sponsor this podcast, I am more than welcome to open up the podcast so that you can sponsor it. Trust me, I'll put your name all over the podcast if you want to sponsor. But anyway, I digress. Um, I'll just give my weekly picks. I missed a game this week already. I missed the Thursday night game. So I'm going to have to do a better job of trying to get the podcast or the pick segment up before the actual game start for the week. But because it's currently Sunday morning, but I'm going to get the remaining picks out for the remainder of the week and give you the spreads and, my opinions if you should take a team outright, take the points, whatever you want to say. All right. So let's just get into it. I'll save the Eagles for last because I have to give an opinion on the Eagles. And, considering that this is the 444 podcast, Philly Sports 444 podcast, and the home of the Philadelphia Eagles, as well as the Sixers and the Flyers and the Phillies, I will give the home team last. All right. So that's how we'll do the picks. And without further ado, let's get started. So, got Giants and Bears at 1 o'clock. Bears are the home team. Chicago's favored by 5.5. I'm going to say that you should take the Giants in the points. I know it sounds funny. I know that Daniel Jones has a fumbling problem, or a turnover problem, I should say. But I think that the Giants. I don't think the Bears are that very good. That's what I will say. I don't think they're a very good team. I think they got pretty lucky last week with the win in Detroit. And I'm just waiting for Mitch Trubisky to fail. I don't see that he can lead this team to be a dominant or a viable team in the NFC. So I'm just waiting for them to actually call on Foles' number and actually make him the quarterback for the remaining of the season, thinking that he'll save the season. I don't think he will. But I just want to say that I don't think the Bears are that good, so I would say take the Giants in the points. Like I said, Chicago's favored by 5.5. I don't think you can lose by taking the Giants in the points. I know the Giants stink. I know that Saquon Barkley had 6 yards rushing last week. 6 yards. So and he had like a big run, and I guess he had a lot of negative runs. So he had 6 yards rushing last week, but I do think that for the most part of that game, they were giving Steelers a game last week. I think Daniel Jones is able to put drives together. If he doesn't hurt himself and he doesn't turn the ball over, they can actually make this a game a little bit. So I really do feel that you should take the Giants in the points. That's what I'll say for that one. Moving on, Falcons and the Cowboys are at 1 o'clock. They're playing in Jerry World. Dallas is favored by 3.5. I'm going to take Dallas outright. I think that people have been saying Dallas got job last week in regards to that pass interference call with the Rams winning. I didn't think the Cowboys would win that game anyway, to be honest with you. Well, no, I did think that they would win. Let me not lie. I thought that they would win that game. I thought that the Rams were getting disrespected a lot. I will say that, but I thought the Cowboys would win that game, and I was less surprised because I'm not surprised at what Aaron Donald did to them, but or what the defense did to them. But I am surprised at how good their offense looked as far as the Rams are concerned. And people talked about Dallas being this explosive offense. They put up 17 points last week, so I think that being in Jerry World, having that little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and the Falcons being so, they're like topsy turvy or like up and down, whatever you want to say. Like the Falcons, they have so much talent, but they just, for some reason, they're like a middle of the road kind of team. So I really just don't feel that the Falcons would win this game. They're not the Falcons of, a couple years ago where they went in the Jerry World and they just had this explosive offense and they just put up points. And I think they can still put up points. I think Matt Ryan is still a good quarterback. It's just that at the end of the day, they get in their own way as well. So I want to say the Cowboys are going to win this game outright. I think it's dangerous to take the points in the Falcons for that game. So Cowboys outright. I think it's appropriate. I mean, and the line is only 3.5. Typically the home teams get a 3-point line, but I don't trust the Falcons. I wouldn't trust the Falcons if I were you. So take the Cowboys outright. If you're a betting person, take the Cowboys outright. I think the Cowboys will win anyway. So that's my pick for that one. Lions Packers at 1:00. They're actually in Lambeau Field. Green Bay is favored by 6. They're favored by 6. Packers went outright. I don't think there's much to say there. I think the Lions people have picked the Lions to be a sleeper team this year, and we've known the Lions actually have some talent and to be able to put a point. We know Matt Stafford to actually, be able to do some things in the regular season. But I think at the end of the day, the Lions are the Lions. They're going to be the Lions. That's how I see it. So I don't even think you could take the Lions in the points, to be honest with you. I think that the Packers went outright. So I'm picking the Packers for that game. Jaguars Titans are at 1:00 as well. They're playing in Tennessee. Tennessee's favored by 7.5. I think that is a big line for Tennessee. I do. And they won on Monday night. They were able to pull that game out. I know they have the kicker. He missed three kicks, and then he made that one at the end. But I think at the end of the day, the Titans they're going to be a viable team in the AFC. I really do think that. They're probably going to. Are they going to win their division? They might just win their division. I mean, this is the divisional game, Jaguars Titans. I just think that 7.5 line for a division game is just way too big, if you ask me. So I would take the Jaguars in the points. To be honest with you, I take the Jaguars in the points. I think 7.5 is just way too much. Gardner Minshew, he was 19 for 20 last week. So I think that now I'm not gonna say he'll be 19 for 20 this week, and I think that Derrick Henry rushing attack, I think he's vicious, but I just think 7.5 is way too much. Unless Derrick Henry rushes for 350 yards, 7.5 is way too much. So I would take the Jaguars in the points. I think the Titans do win the game, but I take the Jaguars in the points. Vikings Colts is at 1:00. They're playing in Indianapolis. Vikings coming off of a bad loss to Green Bay. Colts coming off of a bad loss. They played Jacksonville last week. So I'm going to say Indiana. I mean, the Colts are favored by 3 points. I mean, it's a normal home line. So it's basically a pick 'em, honestly. I think Marlon Mack just got hurt. Just tore his ACL, or not ACL. His Achilles, I think. So just basing it off of that, I think that the Vikings actually will win this game. Having the talent that they have, Dalvin Cook just getting read up on the deal. I think the Vikings. I think they're still going to be a viable team in the NFC, to be honest with you. So I think last week was a bad loss. I just think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be on a tear this year. But Vikings, I think they can win this game. So I would say take the Vikings in the points, to be honest with you. The Vikings, I think they should actually win this game outright. All right. Bills Dolphins is at 1:00. Buffalo's favored by 5.5. Dolphins are at home. That's a good bet for the Dolphins. I mean, not the Dolphins, excuse me, the Bills. That's a good bet for the Bills. So I think the Bills win this game outright. I don't think it's going to be close, to be honest with you. I think the Dolphins stink. I mean, granted, it was 21-11 last week. They lost to the Patriots, but they scored that touchdown late. So I look at it, and I think the Bills, with their defense I know it's a divisional game, and I know they're playing in Miami, but I don't think you can trust the Dolphins right now. I think they're going to have another year like they did last year. So I think the Bills win that game outright. 49ers Jets, 1 o'clock. They're playing in Jersey, and the 49ers are favored by 7, and I think that's appropriate. I think the Jets stink. I think the Jets are probably the worst team in the National Football League. I think they're probably going to win 3 games this year. And the 49ers they're coming off of a bad loss to Arizona. So I think you take the 49ers in this game. The 49ers will win outright. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Rams Eagles, I'll save that one. Broncos Steelers, 1 o'clock. They're playing in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored by 7. I think that's a little bit of a big line for the Steelers. I think that you could take the Broncos in the points on this one. I really do. I think that the young Jake, not Jake Lock, is it Jake Lock? No, it's Drew Lock. Excuse me, Drew Lock. Young Drew Lock, I think got some swag, man, and he can play a little bit. You got the young receivers out there in Denver. Their defense is actually playing all right. Actually, they played all right on Monday. They just, like I said, they just didn't win that game, against Tennessee. But I think at the end of the day, that 7-point line for the Steelers is way too big. I mean, they're not they're going to be good this year, but they ain't 7 points good. Like, I think that's way too much. So if you want to make a couple of dollars, you take the Broncos and the points, but I think the Steelers win that game outright. Panthers, Bucks favored by 8.5. I think that's a big line for that. This is a divisional game, and the Panthers actually didn't look bad last week. I know you lost to the Raiders, but they didn't look bad last week. Bridgewater's back there slinging it. They still got Christian McCaffrey. I know they're young, and I know they got a rookie head coach in the National Football League, I should say, because he did coach Temple, he did coach Baylor, but 8.5, man, that's way too much for the Bucks. Tom Brady is still, I know he's the GOAT, but he is 43. Like we gotta calm down. Like, he's 43 years old. I don't think the Panthers get blown out in this game. I think that you can take, like, these divisional games can be tricky, but I don't think it's a bad bet for you to take the Panthers in the points. I really don't. But I think the Bucks do win the game. I think it's going to be closer to 8.5, though. I mean, the Bucks may win by 4 or something like that, but 8.5 is way too much. So, Bucks do win the game. Take the Panthers in the points to make a couple dollars. Washington and the Cardinals. They're playing in Arizona. Cardinals favored by 7. I think that's that's the right. That line is correct. I think Washington, although they did win against my Eagles last week, I think that the Eagles, that loss was more on the Eagles than it was Washington playing well. I know the defense played well, but our offensive line was in shambles, and I'm not gonna make an excuse for them, but I don't think Washington can duplicate that performance. So they're not going to do that against Kyler Murray. They're just not. And they got Hopkins out there. I don't see them doing anything that crazy to the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are actually a dark horse that really makes some noise in the NFC, to be honest with you. So I take the Cardinals to win that game outright. And I think that spread is actually correct. I think that spread is correct. I think that the Cardinals are not even going to allow Haskins to get comfortable. I just that offense in Washington is not really good. So I just look at that Cardinals team as they're going to be a dark horse, but I also think that Washington isn't very good. So 7, that sounds appropriate. I think this game, they'll blow that game wide open by the time the fourth quarter comes. So Cardinals win that game outright. Bucks, Chargers, they're playing in LA. Kansas City is favored by 8.5. That's another divisional game. Whew. You can't really bet against the Chiefs, man. Sorry. You can't bet against the Chiefs. I mean, I know it's 8.5 point. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I mean, that they're gonna have a lot of big leads on teams this year. So yeah, I take the Chiefs. Chiefs gonna win that game. That 8.5. Yeah, they'll cover that, all of that. So yes, I think the Chiefs win that and they'll cover that. So Ravens, Texans, they're playing in Houston. Baltimore favored by 7. They are playing Deshaun Watson. They're playing a good defense. In Houston. Well, no, Houston's okay defense. I ain't gonna say they're good, but they're okay defense. You're looking at that. 7 may be seven's right. 7 might be right. Because I think that Baltimore. See, here's the thing. It's easy to have a good defense when you're playing from ahead, playing with a lead. So 7 may be a little bit too much. I think the Ravens do win the game. 7 may be a little bit too much. If it was like 5.5, that would sound more appropriate to me. But I mean, I think. Listen, in my opinion, you take the Texans in the points, but the Ravens do win that game. That's what I will say. Patriots, Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 4. I stay away from the Patriots in this game only because this is only Cam's second game as a Patriot. Cam Newton's second game as a Patriot. I'm still worried about them being able to unleash the offense with Cam. I think that they'll be very good with Cam. I really, really do. Later on, but not right now. So it's always hard. I know there's no crowd in Seattle. There's not going to be a crowd in Seattle, but Russell Wilson's going to be the MVP this year. So I think that Seattle wins that game and they'll cover that spread. It's only 4, but they'll cover that. So take the Seahawks to win that game. And then Monday night, Saints Raiders. New Orleans is favored by 5.5. This is the first game that's going to be in Vegas. This is tough. This is a tough one. I'll be honest with you. I mean, the Saints. I mean, I really wouldn't bet against the Saints. To not win that game, I'm just worried about that spread. I think it might be a little bit closer than even the Saints want. The Saints will cover. I'll say the Saints cover. So Saints win that game outright. The Saints cover. That's what I'll say. But watch out for those Vegas Raiders. I need a couple more games to evaluate them, but I think that they might be a lot better than they were last year. So just watch out for them. Getting back to the home team, last but not least, the home team. So we'll go, Rams, Eagles. So this is my opinion about the Eagles. I've told you guys time and time again. I'll tell you again. The Eagles are 8-18. Eagles, they played probably their worst game they're going to play for the entire season. They played the last week. I don't think that they will play any worse than that tomorrow. I think that they will actually come to play tomorrow. It's a home game. They're only favored by 1.5. To me, honestly, I just think that they're that offensive line. I can't see it holding up. To be honest with you, I just can't see it. I think that even with Lane Johnson coming back, I really do think that that defense is going to give Carson some headaches, and I don't have the faith in the Eagles right now. I don't have the faith in the offense, and the defense hasn't been tested yet, in my opinion. So they're going to be tested a little bit tomorrow. I mean, the Rams got some speed, so we're going to see. We really will see, and they just extended Robert Woods. They extended Cooper Kupp. And I think that this year they're looking to kind of get back to where they were a few years ago when they actually went to the Super Bowl. And even before that, they're looking to kind of not redeem themselves, but they're looking to kind of be another viable team in the NFC. And I will honestly say that I think they will be. I think they can be. I mean, I know their linebackers aren't that good, but they just signed Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey got his deal. So, I look at this team and I'm like, I think the Rams are going to be okay, in my opinion. I think that, they'll be a viable team this year. And I think that the Eagles just are an 8-8 team. I don't think that they can win. They got a tough stretch coming up. And I honestly can see this team starting 1-4. I really do. And it's, they'll win their game next week versus Cincinnati, but they got Baltimore coming up, down the pike, and they got a couple of tough games coming up. I I would stay away from the Eagles in this game. Eagles don't cover that spread. I take the Rams to win. I bet the Rams. I would bet the Rams. I think the Rams win the game outright. So I think you bet the Rams on this game. I really do. I heard an interesting stat today. Shout out to Rob Motti. He works for AP and he does radio on 97.5 The Fanatic weekends, and he has another show. Um, I think it's called Faith on the Field. It comes on like Sunday mornings, but I respect Rob. So I heard him say an interesting stat today on the radio. He said Sean McVay is actually 4-0 for games that start at 1 p.m. That's interesting. I mean, them being a West Coast team, he's won all his games, his 1 p.m. games that had a 1 p.m. Well, all the games he had that had a 1 p.m. start, he's won all of them. And now, granted, it's only been 4. It was 2 last year and 2 the year before, but he's won all of them. And I know that there's another thing out there that's, Doug Peterson's 2-0 against Sean McVay. I what I saw out of Doug last week, that does not make me confident in Doug. I still think Doug is a good coach. I think Doug has a lot of pressure on him. I think he will have even more pressure on him if they lose tomorrow, which I think that they will. I just don't think this team is a good team. I really don't. I think that they have enough talent, but I don't. I think injuries and continuity, and that team is always a team that they like to be underdogs, and they're not a front running team. They're just not. That's not them. That's not their identity. That's not how they get down. So I think that looking at Carson, the game he had last week, I think he'll play a lot better. I really do. I think it'll help having. I think they'll play Deshaun a lot more this week. I think that they'll get him involved early and often. I look at Rager, what he did last week. I mean, him having the catches. Well, he had that one catch. Excuse me. I think they'll try to get him involved more. I think that you got to sit Hightower. You can't play him as much. I think that they like having his speed, but I think at the end of the day, you got to get the veterans out there. So I think you'll see some Greg Ward this week, as opposed to seeing so much Hightower. And like I said, you'll see Deshaun, and you'll definitely see some tight ends. You'll see them involved early. You'll see Goddard and Zach Ertz involved early in the game, very early, and which is cool. And Miles Sanders is back as well, so that'll help Carson out. But I think that Doug doesn't like to run the ball. Doug won't run the ball, and if he does run the ball, I think he'll get away from it pretty quickly, because he likes to throw the ball. He wants to go downfield. That's how Doug is. And I understand that. I do, but I just don't think the offensive line will hold up. I just don't think that. And I think Aaron Donald will have his way tomorrow. And I'm not going to say the Rams will win big. I'm not going to say that. But I will say that I think the Rams will win the game. I can't see Eagles winning this game. And I think that more than the result of the game, the fans are going to have to actually look at the game and evaluate what this team is. They're going to have to actually evaluate what the team is. They're not. You can't look at the end score and just say, "Oh, this team sucks because they lose. They're 0-2." No, look at the game and take away what you can take away and understand who the team is. I think tomorrow's going to tell you a lot. I do, as far as where the team is headed. But right now, and I could be very wrong. I could be very wrong about saying that they're 8-8. I could be very wrong about saying that they can start out 1 and whatever. I could be very wrong about that. Eagles could actually come out and win tomorrow. They could. And I mean, I think there's some people that are so optimistic about this team. I'm just not one of them. I'm not one of them. So I got the Eagles losing the game tomorrow. I got the Rams winning it. I don't have. I'll pick a score real quick. I got the Rams winning it. Let's call it 27-21. 27-21 Rams. I think that the Eagles end up with the ball on the final drive. They'll have to actually try to drive it, and they'll have to try to win the game. And I can't see them pulling a game-winning drive out. I don't see it. And maybe that comes down to what I think about the quarterback right now. And I know he's better than what he showed last week. I do know that. But I'm not confident in him right now. And I just can't be. I can't give him credit, blindly right now. I just can't do it. I can't do it. And I love Carson. I really, really do. I want him to be a lot better than what he showed me last week. And I think he is. But right now, I can't see it. So I got the Rams winning tomorrow, score 27-21. I'll be back after the day's events, I guess you could say. So it probably won't be immediately after the game, but it will be sometime tomorrow night. I'll, try to drop a pod and, tell you what I think about this team and where they're going. All right. So those are my weekly picks. These are the 4 for 4 picks for the week. So if you lose money, hey, don't blame me because you lost money. Remember, I'm not even a betting man. So, all right. So these are my picks. I hope you win. I hope you guys do win some money. And like I said, if DraftKings or anybody wants to sponsor the podcast, I am open for business. All right. I'm here. So good luck to you guys and all the picks this week. This is Dom Lewis signing off from the 4 for 4 podcast, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Peace.